For this video, I decided to paint using only a paper plate. As you can imagine, the process wasn't perfect. The first problem I faced was mixing the paint. I ended up using a cookie sheet covered with plastic. The second problem I faced was applying the paint to the canvas. I could put the paint on the edge of the plate and spread it like I would a brush, but it left harsh lines from the grooves in front of the paper plate. It also made the paint challenging to spread, which wasn't ideal for a canvas this size. I needed to come up with a solution, so I decided to use the flat side of the plate to spread it in a circular motion. This method worked much better. If you think painting with a paper plate is an exciting method, give this video a like so more people can see it and benefit from this content. I combined my second method with my first method to create some really cool textures. It wasn't long before my paper plate started to rip along the edges, so I decided to fold it to apply the paint in a way that would establish basic shapes and allow me to build up color. Since I'm using the same paper plate, I have to let it dry in between color mixing and applying layers to avoid creating muddy colors. After the paint had a moment to dry, I'm able to start on a new layer with a darker color. At this point, I realized I could make this work. I just had to make sure my state of mind was in the right place. Instead of getting stuck on the idea of how to paint with a paper plate, I focused on what I wanted to achieve in my painting. Then I looked at my paper plate and manipulated it to get the results I wanted. As the painting progresses, you'll see me using every single angle of the paper plate. Using a paper plate removed my need for control and allowed me to focus on the subject and troubleshoot immediately without overthinking. I often get caught up in what brush to use, and it prevents me from having fun. And as challenging as this project seems, it never felt overwhelming. Once I started, I was completely obsessed and I couldn't stop. If you guys want to see me paint with a paper plate again in the future, go ahead and give this video a like. That way I know that this is the type of content that you want to see. I had to flip the canvas multiple times for this piece because I needed the direction of my strokes to go a certain way, which was very difficult to achieve with a paper plate. What makes this painting work is the multiple layers and the moments I allowed the paint to dry. If you're rushing and not present in the process, it's easy to create something that lacks depth and falls flat. When you take the time to create each layer and give it time to dry, you will be consciously aware of what you're creating and understand which areas need a little bit more work before moving on to the next layer. Watching myself paint with a paper plate is a little surreal because I can see how I use my entire body to make the strokes. It's fun to watch because I would have never had the courage to try this a year ago. It's easy to see how I use my art to express myself freely without judgment or criticism. Looking at my art makes me happy because I feel the joy I felt when I created it. And that's really what it's all about for me, is sharing my joy, sharing my process, and allowing you guys to just feel what I feel when I make my art. This video especially is important to me because I tried something completely different and I love it. I absolutely love it. I hope you guys loved it as well. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video.